Repticon Mike right here, and we're about to bring you Summer Westmoreland of Repticon. We are right now today at the Tampa Repticon show, and Summer is the show manager with Repticon. So Summer, I'm going to bring you in, and how you doing, Summer?
I'm good. How about you?
Just great. We had that's one of the vendors back there. Today's Saturday, and we just got through with a great day, I think, for COVID and everything. Uh, Tell us about Repticon in Tampa. How many vendors did we have here at the show?
I think we have 45, maybe a bit more than that. It's one of our biggest shows in Florida, if not the biggest show in Florida. So we have as many as we can pack into a building.
So I think this is the most amount of space I've ever seen at any Repticon show. Would you say this is the biggest venue we've ever had?
We had to get a bigger building because of all the social distance protocol we had to do. So in order to have the same number of vendors we usually have, we also had to get a bigger building to have the same number of guests we usually have.
Right. So we had 2 waves of guests come in. Talk about how you ran the waves.
Yeah. Usually we've had caps on them before because, again, depending on the views, we can't let so many people in. But this one, it was such a high number, we weren't expecting to meet it. We were just like, just let everybody in.
Just let them in.
Yep.
And everybody bought their tickets online. Did that work out okay?
Yeah, everything went fine.
So, and they just went to their phone, bought their tickets, showed you a QR code or something like that.
Yep,
you scanned them in.
They have a little email that's got the ticket on it, so we can scan it real quick. If something goes wrong, we have other ways we can look it up.
Right.
And even if they got here and for some reason they hadn't purchased, we have a little way for them to scan a little QR code, pull up the website, and get it real quick.
Okay. So I'm here as Premium Crickets today, and I can tell you, I didn't bring enough crickets, unfortunately. I with the COVID, a lot of the other shows just weren't that well attended, but it seems like people are getting tired of it, and now they're just coming out, and so they came out in droves for this show.
Oh yeah, it was high numbers.
Yeah. So what we've got right now is we have 3 cameras, and we're going to test out one of the cameras showing some rubber ducky isopods, and we want to see what that looks like on a live stream. So I'm going to. Okay, there it is. So will you show us in detail?
Yeah. There was one on the bottom of that log a second ago, so now I got to dig one up. There he goes. Okay, come on out. I do not, actually. Okay, cool. $100, I think, yeah. Please. We do. We've got. Let me put a cap on these guys. They don't run away and disappear in my pocket.
Where's Mark? Hey, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Will you do this? Why don't you get an animal?
You want to do that?
You go first.
Oh, this is his animal.
Okay, so you want to talk about that one?
As much as I know about it.
Okay, you're on time, right?
Yeah, if you're with him, you're good for a few minutes.
Okay.
Okay. So, Mark, you're the company Southern
Where am I at? Can we see
You
me?
are. No, I just got it on the crusty.
Okay. Of course I do. I don't know what this.
So
It's really hot. Can you see the animal now?
yeah,
No problem. All right, where are we at?
we're gonna pull up
Cool.
here. There we go.
How's it going, guys?
Oh, he's right away.
Reptiles.
So this is a crested gecko, and these guys. What's always intrigued me about these is that really only about 15 years ago they were thought to have been extinct in the wild. So to be able to sit here and not only hold but also breed and do very well, producing good numbers on a gecko that was thought to have been completely extinct 15 years ago, to me is baffling. Now this isn't exactly our best specimen. I just grabbed something quickly to show you guys. But when you look at a crested gecko, sometimes I'm just gonna let him jump around. Sometimes have all different colors, and there's not any two crested geckos that look the same. If you were to pull 100, each and every one of them is going to look completely different than the last.
We do. Your phone just went to sleep, by the way.
You have one there?
Yeah, he's over here. We stole one. All right, so it's 5 o'clock.
4:55.
I know, but I have to start making sure he's out.
I know. Get him out.
Get him.
Yeah, it's okay. Switch out.
Yeah.
What am I looking at?
Hold on, let me add that back. I mean, you can do either one. You can get it on there if you want to move this around.
How about now?
You have. So use the tablet and then use that as the video for that. Don't worry about this guy.
Okay, so is there a way to show me or no?
You're being shown here.
Okay. Oh, I got you. There's this split screen.
And then talk about that.
Gotcha. Okay.
So don't worry about you. You just put the video on there and then talk.
I gotcha. All right. Tell me when.
Here. And hi, for you guys in the future, we are experimenting for the launch of Repticon. I'm glad I'm going through all this because it is a bit confusing. You can see the lighting doesn't look so good. And we're doing 3 different cameras, 2 different people, but I'm going to take this, watch this, and we're going to learn and we'll get better. Okay, Mark, I'm going to add, okay, put him right on there. There you go. Now, Mark, talk about your gargoyle gecko that your son bred.
Okay, yeah, actually, so these guys are pretty similar in character to the crested geckos. Like a gargoyle would do pretty well in a 12-18 tank. They're going to eat the crested gecko food. They'd be great with giving them some crickets or some worms periodically as well for a little extra protein. The big difference between these guys and the crested geckos, other than, of course, the price. I mean, you've been around the show. You know how expensive these things have gotten in the past couple months. The big thing about them is they're certainly less common. And also the big thing about them is they're also going to grow. They're going to grow a little larger. So like this gargoyle gecko here right now is maybe about a year old. They're going to grow more slowly. So like if this was a crested gecko, after 1 year, it would be sexually mature. But as a gargoyle gecko, it's not going to be sexually mature to, let's just say, closer to 2 years. So it's a slower growth. But ultimately, it will grow to attain a larger size on average than a crested gecko. And let me just prop this up a little bit better so you can see it, because I got one hand I'm working with here. As they grow, it's called a gargoyle because right on the top here of his head, he has ridges of bone. I'm trying to turn it so you can see it, but those bone ridges will continue to develop, and you're going to see essentially the development of why these guys are called the gargoyle gecko. They really and truly will end up looking quite like a scary gargoyle, like you've seen in the movies or like you've seen on a building downtown. So in terms of where they come from and all the rest, to be honest with you, regretfully, I really don't know too much about them. I know they do come from a similar part of the world as the crested geckos, but in the pet trade, we refer to them as very complementary to one another in terms of how they're cared for, how they're fed, and how they're kept. Another big difference, of course, is the price. Crested geckos are easily attainable for $40 or $50 in low ends, and then you come to the shows, and sometimes you'll see them for $200-$300 in the high end, or of course more than that. About the least expensive gargoyle gecko you're ever going to see at a show is probably about $150, if not a lot more.
Hey, so we just had Justin Smith visit us. I do a podcast with one podcast with Justin.
What's up, Justin?
So Justin was the very first person that's ever come on my show. So it's kind of cool how Justin can actually give out questions to us right now, and I can put those on the screen and we can comment on. So thank you, Justin. Okay, so let's.
Oh, you know what, Mike? It's Justin's telling you that there's no audio.
You hear audio, Justin?
I hear audio on the tablet.
Yeah, I hear it too.
Yep, it says there's audio right now.
He says that? Okay.
So maybe we should ask somebody if they have a question. Justin or Michael, do you guys have any questions about these animals?
So Justin's saying he could barely hear me. The next time I do this, I'll have better equipment. Oh, he says good on both sides right now. See that? Okay. So Justin, if you can hear me, just type out a question that we can comment on. So it'd be kind of cool is in the future, if there's a lot of people watching this, they can ask you questions, Mark, and then you can talk about your animal while people are watching.
I gotcha.
Put on both sides. Boom. So did you turn the phone off? So I'm using my phone. I think what's happening is going into sleep mode.
Yeah, it's definitely in the sleep mode, Mike.
Yeah, so what I got to do is turn the sleep mode stuff off.
I'm also not sure you've turned your battery on. Is it on? Yeah, it's on.
So now I have to go in. Okay, just pick. Kind of cool. Okay. So
Okay, we have a question.
Awesome.
Justin
Got a question
for us.
Hey, Justin, how you doing? So again, I'm Mark with South Florida Files. And
your question is, what does that guard fire up to? It's a good question.
So I'm gonna. Oh, there's two cameras here. Okay, so this guard right here. He's a young one. And to be honest with you, since I didn't breed it, since I don't know what parents look like, my assumption is that he's pretty much just going to stay this pretty plain colored for life.
I know, I get
two microphones
together.
Let me try. Eat one.
Eat one. Okay, is this better? Yeah. Okay, here we go. So, Justin, I'll start over in case you didn't have that audio there. Mike, you hear me? Awesome. All right, Mike. So, the question that Justin asked was, what is this? What color does this garg fire to? So, I didn't breed this garg, and unfortunately, I don't know what the parents look like. So, my assumption is that this gargoyle is going to stay pretty much looking like it does right now throughout its life. You know, maybe it's going to get a little bit darker where you can see the dark lines. Maybe it's going to be a little lighter where you can see the light lines. And it's still a very appealing pattern. It's still a beautiful color. But I guess what Justin's referring to for everybody else out there, all the millions of people that are watching this video right now, what they're thinking about is, you know, is it going to turn striped with red stripes or brown stripes or yellow stripes? And unfortunately, this particular one isn't going to do that. Bush, what up on the screen? How about